Hey, it's Jeff and Beck with Gibbons Creative, and today we're going to share a little bit of the making of our video, The Twilight Years. In Jeff's family, when someone is celebrating a birthday of significance, the family members make their own little video for this person, and then we put them all together and watch them at the actual birthday party. This summer, it was a special birthday for Jeff, and so the kids and I had to come up with something without Jeff's help and without him knowing that we were doing this.
That's right. So I was off in Vancouver for 3 days doing a shoot, and I had taken all the gear with me. And so Becca and the kids had to get this done while I was gone and with whatever they could find in the leftover gear.
Thankfully, Jeff's dad loaned us his Canon 60D, and we used that along with 2 Home Depot clamp lights clamped onto a ladder. And then for audio, we just had a Rode mic that was stuck on top of the camera, and that was it for gear.
Becca and the kids would get set up here. She'd have to do all her makeup. They'd shoot the scenes that they could. And by the time I came home, all the makeup had to be off and the house put back to normal. So Becca knows how much I love the Twilight Zone and old things, so the episode is just perfect, and I couldn't believe the writing of it and how well my kids did. It was amazing and very accurate. That's why I was laughing so hard the first time I saw it, and I had no idea that they had done this. So we redid Dad's dialogue in the studio. That was a lot of fun as well. It gave him a chance to sort of play it up a little, and I think he did a great job. And I went and did an entire soundtrack for the video because we couldn't use the Twilight Zone music. So I'll show you how I did that and show you some of the instruments I used, as well as the sound design that I put into the film. I use all sorts of virtual instruments. So some virtual instruments are synthesizers and others are virtual orchestras. So this is the little riff that I mangled a little bit so it wasn't exactly the same. And then I had to get the horns in there to add the mystery. And at the last minute, I threw in an instrument called the theremin. And the theremin was one of the first synthesizers, and it's actually one of the most magical synthesizers to this day. And I threw that over top just to add some more mystery. That was used a lot in the old soundtracks. Bassoon and oboe and violins and violas and things like that, doing this kind of plucked pizzicato thing where they pluck the strings. I came up with some sort of pseudo themes for Jeffrey, and for his wife it's just this little flute flutter that happens every once in a while. And once the mystery starts building up, I ramped up the music, of course. If I zoom in here, you can see how this bar here lines up perfectly with what's happening on the video. And I'm able to push and pull the tempo ever so slightly to fit exactly with what's happening on the screen. And you just kind of work with it. And that builds up for a little while until Jeffrey goes home, and of course we have no music during that whole section. And that's another thing as a composer, is to know when to not put music in. And then we end off with the Jeffrey putting on his glasses, and we have the ending. All of this music took about, I'd say, probably a week of solid work. So it wasn't a short project, that's for sure. And this is typical for these kind of projects. As for the sound design, I love doing sound effects. I've done almost as much sound design over the years as I have done music composition. This video was very simple as far as sound design goes because he kept it silent except for whenever he takes off his glasses. So I've got some room sound for when he is in buildings or the kitchen, and then we've got country sound effects when he is in the outside world. It's got some birds chirping, things like that. For this one, I threw in some fun things. I added a siren, so we've got a siren going by. We've got dogs barking, which is extremely applicable. Build up the chaos that's happening as Jeffrey jumps into the real world, and here's the chaos of his family, which was the recorded sound that Becca got on the day with the onboard microphone, which worked out just fine. For every other scene, I didn't have to do much. Added a few little sound effects, Made some sound effects for this part where Jeffrey takes off his glasses. So for this, I just kind of took my glasses and kind of moved around. And then I've also got a little sound effect that happens every time he takes his glasses off and puts them back on. And with that, it's just some little drone sound effect that I've got that I kind of reversed and faded in and faded out to add this whoomp, sort of whooshy sound as he takes his glasses on and puts them off again. And then as far as Dad's voice goes, we re-recorded Dad. So we can see this line right here.
Jeffrey leads a comfortable but predictable life. Jeffrey leads a comfortable, predictable life.
So these are all the different takes that Dad said for that one little line. So after all the sound design is done, I throw in the music.
He works hard for his family as a filmmaker.
And I mix the levels of the music accordingly, set the levels of the voice, and edit the voice so that there's no funny breaths or anything like that. And then set the levels, and we did some final tweaks. Becca did some titles and made sure the titles crossfade nice and slow, just like the original Twilight Zones. And that was it. I'm really impressed with how the film turned out. And I think Becca and the kids did a great job. My dad did a great job. It just turned out so well.
That's it for our making of video. If you want to check out more of our stuff, go to gibbonscreative.ca. And if you haven't seen the original Twilight Years, make sure you check that out too. Thanks for watching.